Hello YouTubers and Madden gamers. We are back on the Nachmany Madden channel. This is Nachmany and it's Fan Appreciation Weekend at EA for Madden Ultimate Team. You'll see here we are in the final of 15 solo challenges we had to do. The deal was if you do 15 solo challenges, you get a 99 overall Ultimate Ticket player. Additionally, they offered an up to 10 pack bundle of packs that were pretty juiced, so we heard. And so what we're going to be doing today as we win that solo challenge there is we're going to be opening that Ultimate Ticket player. We are going to do 5 of those 10 packs, open them up for you here on the channel, and then we're going to do a quick pack and play. So we're going to put all those players, or as much as we can, into our lineup, and we are going to get on a salary cap ranked mode. So you can see here, we start with some of these packs, and in the first one, we get a Keanu Neal at 84, and then, wow, nice one. So that's a Joshua Garnett 95 overall. Ty Montgomery at 83, we get a second elite player, and that's a pretty good one too. That's Shane Ray at a 93 overall, and we finish it up with Terrell Suggs. So for the second pack here that we're opening up, start with Marcus Peters. That card's going for a lot on the auction because of his new campaign set. We get a great Taco Charlton card there, that rookie elite, so he's a 96. Brent Williams, a serviceable defensive tackle at 87, and then we get a couple of golds at the end there. The third pack that we have here, Devontae Parker at an 84 overall, and then Jordan Howard, the same overall. So we get 3 golds, 4 golds, and finally we get an elite. It is a corner on Cleveland. He's at a 91 overall. And then another pack we have here, Amon Green at running back. He's a 93. We have a few repeat golds, and then we get another elite. It's Sterling Shepard at 93, and a third elite in the pack. That's that out-of-position Jason Peters, tight end. He stands at an 86. So the final pack we have here, another Devontae Parker gold card. Big pull there is that Kirk Cousins 95 overall quarterback. That Marvin Harrison is pretty good as well, the 91. Gotta love that Artie Burns, 92 corner. And finally, an out-of-position Eric Ebron at an 88 overall right end. So I think those packs are pretty good. You got to hand it to EA. They really did help us out there. Let's check out who we get as our Ultimate Ticket card. This is that Fan Appreciation pack, and we'll see how this goes. We get the Derek Carr. So we have a 99 overall quarterback to add to the squad. Gotta love that gunslinger chemistry, so he'll be able to get the ball out quickly, especially with some of this nickel blitz cheese that we've been seeing online. I can't even call it cheese. I mean, I've kind of been getting into it myself. But anyway, we put him into the lineup here. You can see Derek Carr. Some of those ratings are just crazy. He's rolling with an 89 speed. I don't even know if we're going to see any quarterbacks next year in Madden with an 89 speed in the regular rosters, but Carr has it. We were able to get Garnett onto that offensive line. I put Peters in at the fullback. Jesse James made it in as a tight end. Our wide receivers, Shepard and Harrison. Amon Green at the running back. And you'll see there we got just about everyone in on the defensive side. We got Buddy Calhoun at the nickel corner, so he'll be blitzing a lot for us. We wanted to get his speed there coming off the edge. That Taco Charlton card is looking pretty good, and we'll get into our first game here. So anyway, something I wanted to talk about as you see some of the gameplay going on was what we're looking at for Madden Ultimate Team in Madden 18. And in terms of a preview, the stuff that we really know right now is what we're going to be able to get right out of the box. So it looks like if you pre-order that GOAT edition that they're marketing right now, you get a few things. It's like a contract pack. You get a bunch of different squad packs. I'm not exactly sure what that would entail. You also get one legendary elite, and then you get an elite player from like your favorite team, but I'm not exactly sure if it has to be from your team or if it can just be a player that you like of the players that have been released. And we'll get into the second part of that, which is the players that have been released in just a moment. And I got to give a shout out to that dude Sly, who posted a video with all of those confirmed players, kind of breaking it down. But anyway, the one legendary elite that you get, it's a choice between five. You can have Tom Brady, so the cover boy, quarterback. People are probably going to pick him. Maybe some of the people who don't play as much Madden but are trying to get into it and they figure, oh, he's on the cover. We got to go with Brady. So Brady's one of them. Then you also have Ray Lewis, the middle linebacker. So I'm thinking about Lewis. Middle linebacker is a little bit weak this year, and so I figure if we can snag Lewis, that might be a good way to start for our team. And by the way, you guys can see there, this guy quits our first opponent after we go up 10-0 with a couple of nice interceptions. So we figured we would bring you another game because we didn't want to shortchange you too much with just the one game of the pack and play. Anyway. So you have Brady, of Ray Lewis, and then you have the two Sanders. You have Barry Sanders and Deion Sanders. A lot of the competitive players will remember Deion Sanders kind of taking the competitive Madden scene by storm this year. So I expect him to be a guy who's highly sought after. Barry Sanders also just one of those fantastic players, a true speedy running back, which we don't see as many of anymore. Kind of a very effective, speedy running back. Not since Jamal Charles kind of fell off the map have we seen an RB like that be successful. And then the fifth player is wide receiver Jerry Rice. Kind of looking at this, I think the last guy that I personally would take is Brady. There are just so many quarterbacks. And then Rice is also kind of in that I don't know if I would touch him list for me. So it's down for me to Ray Lewis, Barry Sanders, and Deion Sanders, but I do like Ray Lewis. I think he might be the move. Anyway, on to some of these elites from your favorite team program. This is something you also get. You can pick one of these guys. There are really a good amount of offensive skill position players. I think like 21 or 22 out of the 32 teams are boasting as their highlighted player a skill position player. So, I mean, everyone from, your Julian Edelman types at the wide receiver to guys like A.J. Green and Julio Jones are the wide receivers. I think there are 8 or 9 wide receivers. In terms of quarterbacks, you'll have everyone from Andrew Luck to Blake Bortles. Jameis Winston makes it on there. Drew Brees, who actually in MUT 17 had the clutch trait. It was only him and Brady were quarterbacks with the clutch trait. So perhaps, you look into that. But if you're not trying to get an offensive skill position player, this is where it gets a little bit hectic. Because you look at it, and it's only 10 or 11 guys that you can choose from. And those guys are Muhammad Wilkerson from the Jets. You have Jamie Collins from the Browns, J.J. Watt from the Texans, Justin Houston from the Chiefs, Von Miller from the Broncos. You're looking at Xavier Rhodes from the Vikings, Luke Kuechly from the Panthers. That may be the only middle linebacker really worth much of anything in MUT for next year in terms of current players. You'll also have Richard Sherman of the Seahawks, and then from the Los Angeles Rams, Aaron Donald. So if I'm looking at this right now, there are a few questions that I have from this list. The first is, why are there no offensive linemen? Look, I get it. It's a marketing ploy. You're trying to get people to pre-order the game, this and that. But at the same time, one concern that a lot of people had was that offensive line didn't matter all that much this year. If you watch the competitive kind of Madden Challenge, Madden Classic, Madden Bowl, those big events from EA, it seemed as though a lot of the top players, problem being one of them, were tanking their offensive lines. And so you worry that this is going to be another one of those years where it doesn't matter who you have, at the O line, as long as they are. I think there was a thing earlier in the year where it was, the big, strong offensive linemen, didn't matter if they were a 95 overall or 65 overall, were serviceable. And frankly, I'm not a big fan of that. I like having to strategize with your O line kind of in your game plan, and thinking about how that's going to affect you. So I worry, just initially of not seeing any O linemen on this list. Another thing you don't really see on this list is tight end. The only tight end of all these 32 teams that's available is Jordan Reed. So, I'm sitting here and I'm wondering, where's Gronk? Where's Travis Kelce, who really came on last year? And look, I get it. Julian Edelman is a great player. For Kansas City, they have Justin Houston, who's kind of a real up-and-coming pass rusher who people are going to want and who people are going to take. Especially if you're out there in the Midwest and you've gotten to see firsthand just his prowess as a pass rusher. But I would have loved to have seen just a few more tight ends, kind of in this regard, and we don't get that here. Another thing that I noticed going through this list is defensively there are no safeties. So you get, I think, two cornerbacks. That's Sherman and Xavier Rhodes. But you don't get even one safety. And you wonder, with the 8 or 9 receivers that they put in, could they have subbed out Odell Beckham for Landon Collins, who's quickly, coming on as perhaps the best safety in the game? Did Baltimore really need Terrell Suggs over, let's say, an Eric Weddle? Maybe even Harrison Smith over Xavier Rhodes. That's probably a little tougher. But yeah, no safety. So if you want to build kind of the back four of your defense, if you want to build up your secondary, your options are kind of limited. You can go with Deion Sanders as that legendary, and you can get a corner to pair with him, and that's the best you're going to do. So that kind of, confused me a little bit. Another thing that I was looking at was there's no Marshawn Lynch on this list. I wonder, and as we're playing with the Raiders uniforms here, I wonder how many Raiders fans would have taken Marshawn if he was available on that. And that probably would have been helpful from a marketing standpoint. Instead they go with Amari Cooper, another wide receiver. And look, well-deserved. Like I said about Edelman, Amari Cooper is also a wide receiver who's established himself and who very much belongs there and deserves to be there. But I gotta think it was a missed opportunity not putting Marshawn Lynch on that list. Just some other thoughts. You have J.J. Watt over Jadeveon Clowney. Clowney finally came on last season in what I believe was his 3rd year. And a lot of the Madden community was really enjoying using Clowney. Kind of, he's 6'5", he's got the speed, and he can also rush the passer when you need him to. And J.J. Watt, for all intents and purposes, he's been injured. He's kind of nearing the end of his prime. And you wonder why Madden didn't give the nod to, the young up-and-comer in this scenario. But, that's kind of splitting hairs there. Another hair splitter, maybe less so, is Blake Bortles over like a Jalen Ramsey for the Jaguars. That would have been another nice corner, and we really do have kind of a dearth of corners here, despite the fact that corners are becoming, more and more important in Madden as we kind of fix some of those catch animations, as we focus so much on the receiver versus DB battle. And I feel that we're not lending it enough credence. I originally was thinking, okay, maybe I'll go, with like a Rhodes, maybe I'll go with like a Sherman, for that reason. But the more that I think about it, it looks like I'm probably going to go from the, legendary elite side. It looks like I'm going to go with Ray Lewis. Just speaking today, and I want to see how the game looks and feels before I make any final decisions. And then for my elite player, if I can choose the team, guys, you obviously know I am a Bills fan. So if I get stuck with Sammy Watkins, there are worse things in the world There are worse players to get stuck with. But I would really like to get Aaron Donald from Los Angeles. He is the only defensive tackle on this list here. And I was watching a panel that, if you guys check out Sim FB Critic on YouTube, he really runs a great channel. It's more of like the sim gamers than it is the competitive gamers that he talks to and talks about. But he did a panel. It was like a 2.5 hour long thing, and I sat and I watched it. And he talked about, or one of the people on the panel talked about how at EA Play they were playing 18, and it really did feel like the defensive line, if you had a dominant D lineman, it could really be disruptive. So I think Donald might be the move. Then finally, back to this gameplay here, really as we kind of finish it off. You see this guy, he scores kind of a last second touchdown there. Really just a back-breaking run at the end there as the toss play. We try to drive back down the field, but he was really on it. He had the sack there. We get what we figured was a nice completion kind of down the middle. But it's tough because here we are. We're down 4, not 3, and we can't just take the field goal, take the points, and go home. So the game will end there as we're unable to get a final play off. We lose 14-10. But that's the video, guys. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next time on the Nachmany Madden channel. Thanks so much for tuning in.